There's something that Gen Z and millennials just straight up understand better than all the other generations. Check out this tweet from a philosopher I follow on Twitter. People who are at no risk of experiencing harm should they be wrong in debates about how people may live sure do love to hold up their indifference to suffering as some kind of virtue instead of recognizing it for the serious moral failing that it is. Let's translate that. What she's saying is that many people feel like their objectivity is a logical asset to them in particular moral debates. And this is part of how we're trained in the Western tradition. Her tag is Youthfro. We talked about the Youthfro dilemma in previous videos, but there's an error in this way of reasoning. Boomers might think that they can be more objective about climate change because it won't affect them. But this is wrong. Objectivity is not necessarily the best way to reason about things. Sometimes we need subjectivity. I would posit that against all the bros who just, for the sake of argument and devil's advocate and all these things, the people who are going to be directly affected by a law or policy, as was in the tweet, are in fact the best, most qualified reasoners to talk about that debate. Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and Millennials are in fact the most qualified ones to talk about the priority of climate change. We're the ones who will be affected by it. Our children will feel it. We will feel it. Somebody who has no moral skin in the game might feel like they're more objective, but when lives are on the line, sometimes that lack of subjectivity actually removes some critical moral component in the reasoning. Do you remember this image? This man is the measure of all things image. This idea that there is this natural order to the world that if only we work hard enough, we can objectively catalog and understand. I majored in physics and I taught physics for 4 years. I'm very on board with this particular way of thinking for electrons. But when it comes to people, our bias with objectivity can lead to a lot of problems. Most of this shelf is oriented towards answering that question. I could go on about it for a while. Honorable mention to Why Fish Don't Exist by Lulu Miller. It's a really short introduction to this eugenic concept of objectivity that has permeated our entire history. The longer versions are up here. But for this video, if a debate is for you a thought experiment, an intellectual exercise, and for someone else it is a life or death issue, I have news for you. Your perspective is moral second priority to theirs. Your pride in your objectivity, supposed objectivity, in the debate is in fact a tacit admission of your own moral downfall. You are admitting your lack of qualification, not your authority. Follow for more, consider Patreon if you're still here. Books are in the reading list. Happy reading.